For 1.4 million people, we are some of the most creative, awesome people on the face of the planet. I have a passion for female entrepreneurship. I wanted to give back to the people in my country, especially female entrepreneurs. The ability to create something out of nothing is a skill that all women have. I am a business strategist. There are way more opportunities for women than ever before, and I wanted to bring my experience and my knowledge to the table. Once we've been able to identify the problems or the challenges that you think you have as compared to the challenges or the problems that you actually have, we offer customized solutions. I have a team of people who come on board to create synergy. I am not a Trinidadian brand. I'm a global brand that is run by a Trinidadian woman. So everywhere I turn up as a Trinidadian woman first.
Hi, good evening, good evening, good evening. As you would realize, Celia is here already, and we are going to talk all the things in week 3 of Wellness Without Borders. This is a limited series, Bold Women in Business and Leadership. Some of you would have seen the short intro fun thing that Celia and I did on Sunday, Celia.
Yes.
And I think it was a great idea. I just came up with the idea and I said, you know what about if I do this? What about if I create a trailer, like if it were a movie? And I do appreciate the fact that Celia was so on with it. Celia just said, yes, we hopped on. We had a gossip, and then we had a recording, and there we are. So we are in week 3 now, Wellness Without Borders. And my guest tonight is Celia Collymore. So Celia, I'm going to go ahead and remove this. And here's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to have Celia introduce herself. So hi, good evening, Celia.
Hi, Rhonda. How are you today? No problem. My name is Celia Collymore. I'm the founder and senior project manager for Bajan Fusion. Bajan Fusion is a fitness lifestyle event management service helping you get fit for life through engaging events that fuse entertainment, education, and excitement. So on any given month, you can experience soft adventure and sporting activities, exercise classes, lifestyle workshops, corporate team building, wellness programming, you name it. It's all about not only doing new and different things, it's about helping you to perform at your optimum. So that's the business side of me, but I love life. I enjoy the outdoors. I love connecting with people. I love traveling. I love reading. I really love the idea of meeting new and interesting people. So when Rhonda said to me, Celia, jump on board for Bold Women in Business and Leadership, it was not even a question or an answer. I knew that I needed to connect with her. I saw so much of the work that she's been doing globally, and I'm so excited to be a part of her journey and this experience.
Thank you. You have me blushing. So Celia, here is the thing that we keep coming back to over and over again. And we ended with it on Sunday, and we're going to start with it tonight, because there are people who will pick this up on the replay, and there are people who will say, what's in it for me? Why should I talk about wellness? I want to talk about money. I want to talk about business. I want to talk about empowerment. What's the big deal with wellness? What is the one thing that you want someone to take away tonight after we've spoken? One thing.
So I love to start, Rhonda, from a place of knowledge and a place of understanding. What is wellness? Wellness is an active and holistic process of learning about and engaging in behaviors that are likely to result in optimal health and well-being. And those behaviors are your mindset, your attitude, your mental state. How are you eating, your physical activity, your relationships, your spirituality? There's so many dimensions of who we are as people. And when we start to understand how we not only survive, but how we strive and thrive, we will start to make better decisions. I always say to people, wellness is wealth. You are your competitive advantage. If you're not taking care of yourself, if you are not taking care of your health, trust me, nothing else is going to be fun. When we are ill, and I was saying to you, Rhonda, we spoke about it, where I heard I watched a reel last week, and the monk said, when life is great, we have a million problems. When our health isn't great, we have one problem. And we always want to make sure that we want to get better. Life is saying to us, we don't have to wait till things get tough and sad and scary. We need to be proactive with our health and our wellness. And I would say to persons, you need to be on this call today, because it's about how do you start to be intentional and consistent. And I find that that's the challenge with most people. They start and then they don't continue. So not only will you have the intention, but you need to be consistent, because your health is your number one priority, and without it, you don't have much.
And this is where I want to position this particular conversation tonight. And I thank you for that. And I'll tell you why. Because as I told you, on the 5th of this month, I will have a guest coming in who was diagnosed with a very rare form of cancer. And it's a rare form of cancer that doesn't even happen to young women. And she said something in a workshop not too long ago, and it really resonated with me, where she said, before you get sick, you have 99 problems. And when you get sick, you have one problem. And she went through a whole transition of having to go through a double mastectomy at 34 years of age. So I am saying, you see, all the people tonight and on the replay who will say, well, I will get to that when this happens, or I will get to this when that happens, or when I am more settled in my job or in my career. This is a famous one. I don't have time for that. I do not have time for myself. I have a friend that she's a mutual friend, Kayla Harley. And Kayla refers to it as radical self-care, with emphasis heavy on the radical. Because if we do not carve out time for ourselves as women, we will not know how bad things are until we are at that point. I always say, you want to see how common illness is, or what's the end result of not taking time, not investing in self? Go to a women's clinic in any of the major hospitals across the Caribbean, across the world. Go to a women's clinic, and that will be your wake-up call. Because in a women's clinic, here's what you see. You see rich women, you see poor women, you see educated women, you see women who barely went to high school, if at all. Mm-hmm. You see white women, you see black women, and the only commonality is that all these women have made time for everything and everybody except themselves. And now they are in the space of reflection. And we don't want, especially now, where especially black women are being assailed from all sides. And we are carrying the stress where? In our stomachs. So it's hardly surprising that there are so many women now being diagnosed with all kinds of gut diseases because they're carrying stress. They're carrying the stress.
I'm so glad that you talked about radical self-care, because quick story. Remember yesterday we talked about Hashimoto's disease and Graves' disease and hypothyroidism. Mm-hmm. I had to go into that space of radical self-care, right? When I was diagnosed with hyperthyroidism and Graves' disease, mm-hmm. my throat, I had a huge goiter, right? So I could not hide it. And I'm not going to get into details in terms of all the symptoms that I would have had 6 months prior. But when I saw that my throat was enlarged and my heart rate was really fast, one thought came to my mind. I wanted to live. And when the doctor said to me, Celia, you need to call home to Barbados, because I was living in New York at that time. Celia, you need to call home in Barbados just to see if there's anyone in your family that may have hyperthyroidism. When I called, it was my sister, 2, 3 of my aunts, and an uncle. And I can look back now and say that poem, I started a brief poem and I said, I wanted to live. Something had to give, letting go of what didn't serve me and embracing all that would heal me. When my doctor said you had to let go of this, that, whatever she said I had to do, I did. And I would say to you, I'm a walking miracle. I still don't understand how I am still alive with a heart rate. I could not work out for 1 year. My heart rate was so fast. If I barely walked upstairs, my heart was like walking out of my chest. I feel, and I had pains in my heart. And I literally had to be still. I had to really recognize that if I want to live, I have to go against all the things that I used to do. Exercising is great, but it could kill me in this instance. So I want to say to people, I am saying it because I lived it. Don't wait until something happens, then to move. Start to take preventative measures. Be more proactive with your life, because trust me, we don't want to be at the back end where we're trying to struggle and figure it out. Let's start to instill the positive self-care routines, which helps to support us not just now, but in our future.
Here's the thing that I see happening all the time. We do not, as women, we do not make ourselves a priority. We have time for everything except ourselves. So, and we feel guilty. That's the other thing. We feel guilty when we say that we have to carve out time for ourselves. So we feel that going to the hairdresser, going to the nail tech, having a facial, we see those things as luxuries and not part of the necessity. And when we do not take decisive action, the stress is going to show up regardless. So before we go on, I want to show you this comment that one of the listeners, Rhonda, is saying. Rhonda is saying, hello, timely topic. My body is rigid with stress. My chest is tight with anxiety. This is the stress, and thank you so much, Rhonda. This is the stress that is manifesting itself in your body. And this is why I brought on Celia tonight, because we are all of us, including Celia.
So with this comment from Rhonda, can we just take a moment to breathe? Let's work with her in this moment. Just a few seconds where we get to breathe. Close your eyes. You can connect chest and stomach, or you can put your hands on your thighs. And we're going to do a few seconds of breathing. And I'm going to guide you through it. So you're going to breathe in through your nose, hold for 5 seconds, and then release through your mouth for 5 seconds. And then we're going to do in through nose and out through nose. All right, so let's go. If you're online, just join us with this short.
I've already started. The minute you said it, I started to do it. So
all right.
I am the other Rhonda that you're talking to.
All right. Yes. So Rhonda, let's go. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Last one in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5. We have the answers, Rhonda. We
Yeah,
all have the
and
answers.
thank you, because here's one of the things that happens. When you're stressed, you take very short breaths. So even in intentionally breathing, it allows you to center yourself in the moment, in the moment. So ladies, I'm glad you're here. We got our first lesson from Celia. And Celia, you know I have questions. So let me get started. And thank you, Celia,
You're
because
welcome.
this is the thing that will take them to the doctor's office when they will get a pharmaceutical prescription, when they could fix the problem with food. And oh, she said, I'm gonna put it up. She said, thank you, Celia. Tears just started flowing, but it felt good because
And
we are holding on to the stress. We
keep
are.
breathing, Rhonda. Keep breathing. I know that's not the final solution, but trust me,
But
when you
it's
have
a start.
anxiety,
It's a
it's
start
hard.
because
That's a start.
we're talking about radical self-care. We're not just talking about self-care, we're talking about radical self-care.
Yeah.
So tonight, question number one. You've transitioned from elite athlete to wellness entrepreneur, and you just gave us a demo. How did your relationship with discipline and self-care evolve over time? Because you were physician, heal thyself.
Yeah, so my journey from athlete to entrepreneur has been shaped in so many ways. When I think about being an athlete, it was really about performance. Yes, pushing hard, going hard, delivering, executing, winning. That was the focus. And as I transitioned into entrepreneurship, building a business, we're on the journey for 13 years. It's been a long, hard, tough process. And my hair definitely shows that I've been doing some work. Right? And when I was an athlete, I wasn't really thinking about self care. You just thought that the exercise, the actual sport, was your
We'll
self
take
care.
care of it.
The
We'll take
focus
care of
is
it.
your self care. But you see, building a business is spiritual. It is the toughest thing anyone, man or woman, could ever do. You have this idea, this seed, yes, that you've planted in your brain, and then you believe that this seed could grow into something big and phenomenal. But
Mhm.
realizing that with this seed is going to take some time and it's going to take some nurturing. So when I think about myself as an athlete, for me to be a great athlete, I have to practice. And that's what business became. It became a practice. I had a plan, but to make that plan happen, I had to practice, 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 so that when it was actually time to put my brand out there, I came with confidence. I came ready to perform in the marketplace. I didn't have it all right and all together, but thank God for having a mentor, someone who's been in the industry for a while, someone who understands the industry, someone who was able to guide me and empower and challenge me to be better. And it was during those moments that I literally said, you have to be fit for business
Mhm.
holistically. Because Rhonda, I
Mhm.
started my business December 31st, 2011. And by 2014, I was ready to give up on my business.
Yeah,
Money's running
good.
out, you're not getting the support that you're looking for. It's just hard. My body was drained, I was tired, so much was happening, and I literally had to sit still and listen to my heart. And I came up with this concept called fitrepreneur, helping
Mhm.
entrepreneurs get fit for business holistically,
Mhm.
where we can go into spaces and really talk about the challenges that we face, because no one wants to talk about their burdens. Most times in entrepreneurship and in business, everyone talks about their success. But what about the failures? What about the challenges on the journey of being successful? And it was in that season back in 2014 that I really started to make my mindset, my wellness a priority. Because if I didn't, Rhonda, my business and myself would have crashed and burned.
And this is important because, and I'm so, so glad that you touched on that, because everybody tells you, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is a sexy word. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. 85% of the people want to be entrepreneurs. But nobody tells you the risk, the sleepless nights, the stress, the strain, the sometimes you are the only person who believes in this thing that you're doing. Um, Lack of support, lack of access to financing. When I as a business strategist, this is why I chose to serve women, because we are coming into this thing in many ways believing that the ability, the skills, and the knowledge that we have will be sufficient. One of the
Nope.
things that nobody tells you is that you only start to know your business when you're about 6 years into it, that you're going to pivot, that the first iteration of your business will not be the final iteration of your business,
Correct.
that you have to keep going sometimes when you do not feel like going further. Every time I see a woman gives up the dream, I know what took her to that point, that the wear and tear on her body, on her mind, on her spirit, you become very set. I always tell people this, Celia, that entrepreneurship will teach you is the only industry on the face of the planet that will teach you more about yourself than any other industry. And Eunice is saying it. She says you have to be strong minded to succeed. And one of the things is that sometimes your only cheerleader is you. You don't
Rhonda,
want to be motivated. That's why you have to be disciplined. And
I want to share a poem. I want to share a poem with you that I wrote back in 2014 when I was about to give up on my business. And it goes, hard work, the infamous hard work. I don't think most people truly understand the kind of commitment and discipline it takes to not only get started, but to follow through.
just stay.
Your art, your craft, your love, your passion is a feeling only you can appreciate. And you get to appreciate those same feelings with people who love you and get it. Sometimes you don't even know what to do or where to turn. You just have to take a step back, reflect, and simply listen to your heart. The process, the journey, the transition is lonely. It's scary. Sometimes it makes you sad. It's the painstaking effort, tremendous sacrifice, and laser focus needed to make your dream a reality. I am it. You are too. I
Exactly.
live it.
Yeah.
I breathe it. I dream it.
It's
I am an entrepreneur. And I
and
ended it
that
by saying, rock on, artists, own your path. And once I wrote that, it was done. The universe knew where I was heading. No, not only thing that could stop me at that point was God. Yes, and I decided that I'm going to hold myself accountable. I'm going to take ownership for this business, and whatever come, negative or positive, good or bad, we rolling together until the wheels fall off.
and that is it. That is it exactly. Because Rhonda said she said I need a tambourine you preach. Eunice said real talk. And Eunice is one of my oldest friends. And one of the things I love about Eunice has been in business for more than 30 years. She's a
Mm-hmm.
fabulous hairdresser. And she has such a good heart. She has such a good spirit. And she's one of the people who is so filled with kindness. And she is such an example to young entrepreneurs coming out there, because she could tell you all the stories, the sad ones, the not so sad ones, the in between. And people feel that being an entrepreneur is you're going to start today and tomorrow you're going to make $1 million. Because as you rightly said, they don't show the dark places. They only want to show the mountaintop. They do not want to show the valley. And what I like to tell people is that a lot of those people are lying.
Yep.
They're lying. They are lying. So in order for you to survive in this place where really and truly nobody feels sorry for nobody, you have to get into community. And this is why I keep saying over and over, especially for women, that community is currency. Because nobody will know how you feel. I don't care if it's your mother, your brother, your sister, your husband. Nobody knows how you feel on the entrepreneurial journey like another entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Nobody knows the loneliness, the pain, the heartache, the things that you have to give up. We come into church tonight. I have some money for a woman, and things was tough in the business, and I couldn't pay the bill with the speed that the woman wanted the money. And that woman called me. And the way that that woman spoke to me, I felt like a bite up shilling. And that woman was also an entrepreneur. So two things I said to myself. One is that she have to be under more pressure than me.
Yeah.
I said to myself, she has to be under more pressure than me. And the second thing I said to myself is that even though you are in pressure, you must understand that your words have power. And when you say those hurtful things to somebody,
can't forget it, can't take it back.
That person's going to carry that for the rest of their career. And I remember the day when I called her husband and I gave him the money. Because the husband wasn't bad to me. The husband and I, it was she. And I know I'll never do business with her again. Because in that moment, in that material moment, I felt like nothing. And I will never forget that. And Debbie is saying the same thing. Community is currency. It is currency. And we have to get real with this thing. Because in many instances, it is bad, awful for a long time before it starts to get better. So that's why
I'm an athlete. So we play not only to win, but we play for the long haul. Yeah,
exactly.
Entrepreneurs have to think, yes, you want to make money quickly, but at the end of the day, you're in the long game. And to be in the long game, you literally have to build from the ground up, cross your T's, dot your I's, educate yourself, be part of a community. Yes, build the knowledge, skills, and abilities to get yourself to the next level. I'm so grateful for my mentor. I mean, there were things that I resisted learning, and she was like, no, you have to learn it. And I am so grateful that to this day I continue to challenge myself and empower myself with new knowledge, because that's going to make the difference, not just now, but for your future. And when you can start to bring the right people into your organization, it also makes a difference. So long game. That's how we need to think about
because there are so many things that we do not know going in. So let's get to the next question. And thank you, Celia, because I knew based on our conversation on Sunday, I knew for a fact you would not be afraid to call a thing a thing. So what are the 3 wellness habits that Black women founders can implement today, not next week, not when they're in the mood for it, to protect their energy? Energy is a real thing with me. I live in energy. And avoid burnout. Tell them the thing, Celia.
I'm always going to use myself as an example, and me using myself as an example can support you. Start with intention, right? So before you go to bed tonight, right, just kind of recount the day. How was your day today? What worked well? What didn't? what are you doing? What will you look forward to for the morning? All right. Because your morning is better when you think about what you're going to do throughout the day. All right. And once you go to bed, you wake up, you put your feet on the ground, you have options. You can pray, you can say your affirmations, you can read your Bible, you can exercise, you can stretch, you can read a book, you can listen to a podcast. There's so many options that you have to feed yourself. I always say to people all the time, I'm not giving you before I give me. Right? So it's important that you fuel yourself first, you give to yourself first, so that then when the day starts, because the day gets busy and you have to focus on other people based on the product or the service that you're offering. So it's important to give to yourself first, intentionally, practically, consistently. And then from there, you also want to honor your boundaries.
Oh,
Lord, I can't do that because he's going to be mad at me. And I am more important. You are important to me, but I am more important than you. Right?
Listen, 2025 is shaping up to be my year of boundaries. I am setting boundaries
Your
so
boundaries
quietly.
can be
My
public.
boundaries have become so quietly being enforced because I have realized that in order for me to survive, I have to set those boundaries and keep them set. But as you say that, let me tell you what I always do. And I use myself as an example as well. I say that, remember, there's a phrase in the Bible where they say, set your mind and keep it set. I guard my thoughts. I jealously guard my thoughts because I'll tell you why. It is so easy for you to roll out of that bed and start to say, here how you could start your day and set it for negativity and fear and stress and all of those things. As soon as you roll out, the first thing is saying, oh God, how am I going to pay these bills? Oh God, I'm owing this. Oh God. You see, within that first 5 minutes of oh God, you already set the rest of your day. For the rest of your day, here is where you're carrying everything in your stomach for the rest of the day. Here is where you're going to carry that pain for the rest of the day. But here is what is another way that you could set that day. You set your day very quietly. Roll out of your bed very quietly. Ask God to open a way for you. I am something that Steve Harvey said in our podcast that I have never forgotten. He said the reason why we don't get is because we don't ask. He said maybe it is because your ask is too small. You are not asking boldly. You are not asking boldly. I am focused on that bold ask to make this 24 hours. So sometimes it's to make the next 4 hours. Maybe it's to make the next 6 hours. It's to find joy in where you are on this journey, because 5 years from now, you are going to look back and you're going to be so proud of yourself that what did you learn in the valley? We never learn from success. We have to be comfortable to fail.
Yep.
Because it isn't failure. It's like lifting weights. The muscle has to burst to build. We have to understand that sometimes in this moment, we are simply doing the best that we can do. And we have to give ourselves grace. Remember when Aisha and we were talking about it? When we were talking about money, when we said, it is all right for you to say that this is a skill set that I never grew up with. But in order for me to get better, I have to acquire this skill set. Money is a language. Numbers is a language. The things that we do not know. We're living in the information age. You are building a business just like if you're building a wall, a brick at a time. And part of that building is that you have to build yourself for the journey. Because if we lean on the approval and the sign off on other people, If we wait for their approval, we will die. We will die by not getting it. And
Rhonda,
I am saying that if we do not place ourselves at the top of this pyramid, how do you expect, how can you build a house when you want to build the foundation out of straw? It doesn't make
correct.
sense.
So Rose's Acre says burnout is real, and when you're in it, it is so difficult to recognize or pinpoint. I'm not sure, Roses. I really think that you know when you're burnt out. It starts really with getting to know yourself. When you know yourself, where you know where you are, where you're going, what works, what doesn't work, what is aligned with who you are, you can avoid burnout. But if you're just aimlessly moving around, just focusing on getting things done and not centering yourself, right?
Correct.
You're not going to recognize it. You're just going to say you're stressed out. You're just going to say you don't have the time. But reality is, we can avoid burnout when we start to set those boundaries where we say, this is what is aligned with who I am and what I do, and this isn't aligned. So I'm not going to do this thing. You can't be all things to everyone and forget about yourself. As women, sometimes we give so much to our family, to our children, to our work, and we forget that we have to pour into ourselves first. I may be tired, but that's because I am focusing on the thing that I love and I'm doing it well. But I have learned the art of relaxation. Today, we ain't doing nothing. I love my business. I love what I do, but my body, I need to give myself back. And if that means taking a minute, a moment, an hour, the full day, we need to start taking charge of our lives. I hear it all the time, I'm burnout, I'm burnout, I'm burnout. Start making decisions where burnout isn't even a thought, right? Because you're thinking about aligning your life with your priorities. You're integrating all that is important to you and you're letting go of things that do not serve you.
And making time for rest.
There you go.
Don't let rest be an afterthought.
Which is my last point for women, where you get to nourish your body. So not only do you start your day with intention and you honor your boundaries, but you need to nourish your body, your mind, and your spirit by getting adequate rest, by eating properly, by exercising, doing movements that you actually enjoy doing. Just how a mother can give all that love and attention to their child, give that love and attention to yourself.
Self.
It makes a
Because it
difference.
is in, let me tell you what happens a lot of the time. And the women who are listening tonight and the women who will listen afterwards, I would love to hear your feedback on that. Sometimes when we say that we are burnt out, we are simply overwhelmed because we are like a computer with all our browsers open at the same time. We need to we need to close those browsers because sometimes in stillness, most times, not sometimes, most times in stillness is where that great idea will come, is where that great strategy will come, is where something that you have been overlooking. One thing my father used to say, and he said it to me years ago, and I still remember it, and I hold fast to it. He said one of the benefits of being taking time for self is that it gives you the opportunity to think. If you
Mm.
are overstimulated by what is happening on social media, what is happening on the TV, what these days there is so much bad news, stressful news that people need to unplug. There are people walking around with all their browsers open, and then they cannot understand why what they are calling um, burnout is really the need to
Yep.
unplug and breathe and catch your breath and give yourself grace. And practicing gratitude is also important because there are people who are out here in these streets who didn't make it. People don't understand that getting up each morning is a gift to them.
Listen.
There are
Yeah.
people who die in their sleep, young, old, in between. So here's the next question. And on that note, here's the next question. How can leaders create a wellness culture within their business?
Same thing, like I would say to the
Even
individuals,
when
start
the
with
budget, even when the budgets are tight or the teams are small.
right. So you don't need big budget, well, depending on the company, but as a small or micro business, you don't need a big budget, you don't need fancy programs, but you definitely need to have the intention to incorporate this into your business. So it works for me because it's the business I am in, right? And I would say to people that my business has saved my life, right? And it continues to save my life. But as a leader, you know now how powerful it is for wellness, and wellness is well. For you to make the money, you need to be well. If you are not well, your business cannot function unless you have people and systems, yes, that you can stay home and recover while the business works for you. So you have to make wellness intentional and consistent. And you also have to model wellness. So if you have people working for you, they need to see that you're living the life that you're talking about. You are setting
Right.
boundaries as a leader. You are exercising, you are eating well, you're incorporating these activities within the organization. You are also saying, after 6 p.m., don't call me. We will deal with it tomorrow. When you start to instill these activities, these practical things within the company, your employees get to see, Rhonda means business, but she also knows how important it is to take care of herself and knows how important we need to also take care of ourselves so that we can continue to contribute to the business. And another
So
thing I'm
Rhonda
learning.
is saying Rhonda is saying something here, and I would really like us to address it. She says, "Ladies, I hear and agree with everything that you're saying, but being a single mom, a solopreneur to an autistic ball of energy, and trying to run a creative business requires a supernatural effort." Now, Ron is literally telling you that the plate is full to overflowing. In fact, it has overflown all over the place. What would you say? What are the things that Rhonda can do now?
So, Rhonda, I appreciate you being honest and vulnerable with us, sharing part of your story with us. I see you, I hear you, I understand, and I'm not living it, but I can understand how difficult it is for you at this time. What I normally would say to my clients is now we have to get even more focus, right? So there's 24 hours in a day. We need to carve out some time for ourselves. So say you use a 24-hour scheduler and you start to break it down either every 30 minutes or on the hour. Where can you find that time for you? Additionally, you may need additional help. You may need support as well in your business. So you are a solopreneur, but you may need to now start bringing people, even if it's on an ad hoc basis, right? It may be that all that profit that you're making, some of it might have to transition into paying someone else to add value to your business. And that alone is also another challenge because it has to be someone that you trust. It has to be someone that is qualified and equipped to do the work that you do and do it just as good as you do. But I think it starts with the focus, right? How do you start to harmonize? Because all of this is that you can't balance any of this. You have to harmonize all of these elements of your life that are a priority, right? So it's about getting still, getting settled, and really start to carve out your day to day. And also start to think about the people that can add value, that can support you on this journey as well. It's not easy, but it's
No,
definitely something that you need to be able to do so you don't feel as overwhelmed as you do, and you don't feel like you should give up on your business or your brand. So there's always a solution. I always say to people, always think solution. Yes, there's a problem, but there's so many solutions, and it really comes down to documenting the pros and cons and start to create a plan of action once you have highlighted what those solutions are and create goals around it, create tasks, and just have the right people in your space as well. And that helps to support you on your journey.
Remember, I told you, and thank you, Rhonda. And let me see what Eunice is saying. Eunice is saying that, yes, our burnout happens sometimes when we can't handle our challenges. Now, that is so very true. And I shared something with Celia before we went live when I told her that my aunt had lived in America for 40 years and then she came back to Trinidad ostensibly to retire. And she had said nothing to anybody that she had experienced 2 heart attacks. And that was the reason why she was coming home for good. And she lived January, February, March of the next year, got a massive heart attack and dropped dead. I am not wishing that on anybody, but I am saying that we have to take preemptive action. And in whatever preemptive action looks like to you, because when you're dead, you're done.
Yes.
And as Jamila said in that networking event, she said when you're healthy, you have 99 problems, and when you're sick, you have one. My aunt was diagnosed with breast cancer in the middle of a breakup with her husband, and when she was going through chemotherapy, he filed for divorce. So I am saying that these are the burdens, and sometimes we say that it is the unfairness, but I would want to put forward tonight that these are the opportunities, these are the times that will stretch us, and it is in stretching we will grow. So one of the things I see people not doing is being afraid to outsource.
Yeah.
I am good at many things, but should I be doing everything?
Nope.
That was one of the things that I had to deal with. The other thing that I had to deal with, and we're talking about ourselves tonight. The other thing I had to deal with is the fact that not everybody is for you, and you have to make yourself a priority to the extent where, if there are conversations that, as a former coworker used to say, if there are conversations that have no ingredients for growth, you just have to stop them. You just have to stop them. If having those conversations are making you unhappy, you need to stop them, because you need to ask yourself, like, why am I still having these conversations? Who am I? Whose expectations am I living up to? People, most of the time as women, people are showing you who they are in broad daylight. According to the old people, you're lighting flambeau for what you're already seeing in the daylight. People are showing you who they are in real time, and we are convincing ourselves that that's not what the people mean. That's not how they are, because we keep thinking that everybody has the same heart as us. And those are some of the things that are killing us. It is literally killing us. So let me go to the fourth question. And
I have
thank
one more. I have one more point, Rhonda, that I wanted to
Go
share in
ahead.
terms of
Go ahead. Go ahead. Because
better.
I really want us to be a source of help to people tonight. That's why I
Yeah.
created the work. That's why I created the workbook as well.
Right. So not only is the employer, the entrepreneur modeling wellness with intention and consistency, but they're also asking their team, getting to know their team, understanding the needs of their teams. When employees feel like they're respected, they're heard, they're seen, that creates a healthier and a well-rooted workplace. Many times I go into organizations and I would ask employees, what are your needs? And they're like shocked that I'm even asking them what are your needs. I can't help you if I don't know what your needs are. So most times organizations will create programming that doesn't fit the needs of their team. And it's important that when you start to ask them, because they're forward facing, they're client facing, they see challenges, they have solutions, but they're human beings and they're bringing their whole self within the workplace. And when you start to show them a level of care, I came up with an acronym last week and I said, be a part of the cure, right? So C is show care, U is show understanding, R is show respect, and E is show energy. When you start to show your staff that you care, right, and you are part of their cure, part of their solution, you'll be surprised that they'll be, and I don't want to say the word loyal, but they would be more what's the
Engaged.
word I want to use? And not only engaged, but they'll be excited to add to what you're doing. They will be more open to finding those solutions and innovating and creating and contributing within your organization. But it takes time. It's not
And
something that is going to miraculously
not
happen
only
overnight.
not only does it take time, Celia, it takes intention.
And building
Because
trust. Mm-hmm.
because until we come out of the mindset that training is punishment, and I cannot speak about that. I speak about that ad nauseum,
Yes.
that people are sent on training almost as if they are something to be fixed. People separate from their supervisors first, from their bosses first, before they separate from the organization. Quiet quitting is a real thing.
Yes.
When people have had enough of not being heard, not being seen, and not being valued, then people very quietly withdraw their enthusiasm for the job. And then you do not understand why the organization is not making the strides that it ought to. Organizations are always, no matter how much technology you have, no matter how much automation you have, organizations will always be forward facing because they're always offering a product or a service to someone else. One thing I
Yes.
learned in aviation is three things I always tell people I learned in aviation: process, systems, and people. That's it. And if your processes are in order, even if there's a flaw in the process, you can fix the flaw without throwing away everything.
Yes.
If your systems are interlocking, then you create in the minds of the users the word synergy. They feel as if they can they can predict that the measurement of performance will be consistent over time. And if you reward people, if you are asking people to do things that you of yourself are also willing to do, then
Yes.
you get buy-in. I remember working in Piarco International a night, and there was a sick out. And we ran that airport for 8 hours with 19 people. Now, 19 people is a little bit of people to run a whole international airport. But you know what? As a supervisor, I used to tell people, I am not asking anybody to do anything that I am unwilling to do myself.
Correct.
The 19 people that I ran that airport with from 9 o'clock, the 9 o'clock the evening to 7 the next morning, those were 19 engaged people who would give me their value. They valued me and they invested, as Roses rightly said, they invested. They invested. So we have to understand that it is more than us. We have to understand also that asking for help is not a bad thing. It doesn't take anything away from you. There are people, it's something I tell women all the time. Who are you looking for you. Don't overthink this thing. Who you are looking for you. So Rhonda said something, and I want to show it again. And thank you, ladies, for investing your time in this short series. Now, she said it's a brilliant acronym. I've been trying to generate support systems. I've found reliable suppliers. It took some time to find the right mix. And you will keep tweaking it. The false friends, the unreliable suppliers, the people who are fair weather clients, they will fall by the wayside.
Right.
And you will build your dream in real time. People who people see as overnight successes are really 10 years of catch ass and one good year of breakthrough.
Let me
One
tell
year of
you.
breakthrough. 1 year to turn everything around. So yes, Rhonda, I want you to keep going. So let's
Yes.
talk about so let's go to question 4. And tonight, ladies, we have a workbook. So do not forget that we offer it to engage people. I will give you the word just now, and I'm going to ask you a question. Before we go to question 4, I am going to ask the people on board tonight a question. What's standing out to you right now in this conversation with Celia? What is it one thing? What is the word that you are getting tonight? Think about it, drop it in the comments, and we will stop in the middle of the conversation and address it. So, one word, what is jumping out at you? So, Celia, you gave us a breathing exercise, you gave us a poem, you gave us affirmations. See, I have a book inside of you, for sure, for sure, for sure.
Work in progress. Yes.
Yeah, I hear you. Here's the question. And this comes out of your borderless communities. Now, you talk about borderless communities, and what does that look like in practice? And why is it so important right now? Now, I have my own thoughts, but I'll let you take the floor on
So
that.
right now, even just sharing with you and everyone listening to us and commenting, this is part of the borderless community. Yes, there's no boundaries. It has nothing to do with status. It has nothing to do with geography. We are all connected online and we are sharing. When I came up with the concept for our slogan for Bajan Fusion, fusing fitness, empowering borderless communities, I lived in New York for 13 years. I met people at university, Pace University, from all over the world. I worked for Bank of New York Mellon. They were in so many countries throughout the world. I connected with people from all over. So I knew even coming back to Barbados, they are still my community. That's just a email away, social media away. So for me, I know that yes, I may be stationed in Barbados, but because we have access in so many different platforms that I can connect with people all over the world. And then on top of that, there's so many things that we may value. We may have the same values. We may be doing the same thing. Those are things that will bring us together. There are women that I connect with. They might find me online. If they ever come to Barbados, they would say, Celia, I want to meet you in person, right? So the borderless communities, you're inspiring people from where you are, not just online, but also in person. So I love the idea that I'm in Barbados, you're in Trinidad. There are women from all over the world, right, on this platform right now. That's the borderless communities. There's something that we have in
Totally.
common. We are a sisterhood, and you doesn't mean that because you're doing well I can't do well or I can't support you. How do we start to see our ambition and our sisterhood as being able to work together? My girlfriend Charmaine, she just commented, way to go. See, I know Charmaine's story. Charmaine knows my story and the work that Charmaine is doing. Like, I am so very proud of her, right? And literally, you're on here, Charmaine, and I'm like, one day we will connect again. Not just from me being your resident director and friend, but now the fact that we are both entrepreneurs together and we have so much that we want to give and add to communities all around the world. So for me, fusing borderless communities is just what it is. We're connected globally and we're able to impact each other personally and professionally.
And I love that. I love that because I'll tell you why. When I decided, remember, I started my business before I left my job. I
Mhm.
started this entrepreneurial journey at 55. I was 55 years old when I started my
Yeah.
agency, and I was still employed in aviation. And one of the things I took from that 30-year experience of working from the lowest level all the way up is that I never worked in a local space. I always worked in a global space. Aviation is 191 plus signatory states. I worked in a global industry, and I worked in an industry where I would lecture, train, work beside, serve people from all over the world. So one of the things that I learned in my past employ is that there's always somebody who has something that you need, and you always have something that somebody wants. So therefore, I see it as a large network. When I say it on my introductory video on my website, that I never built a Trinidadian brand. I built a global brand that is run by a Trinidadian woman. Because as I have said to you, and I will continue to say, that being a Caribbean citizen is my UVP. There are 40 million of us in this space. And I love being a Caribbean person. I love it. It is my UVP. I was talking to my cousin just last week, and he's a bakery consultant. And I was telling him, I said, being Trinidadian, being Caribbean is my ace in the game. That is why I love the fact that I can switch from the Queen's English back to the patois and back again, because the lexicon has words in it, descriptors in it that lends itself to certain situations. I have grown up in a space of very strong, courageous, resilient women. Female entrepreneurship is nothing new to the Caribbean. There was always a woman who worked outside of the home or in the home, creating goods and services for somebody else, whether it was washing their clothes, baking bread for the village, selling in the market, burning coals, making Creole cocoa. There was always, we grew up inside of that. So this is why I have such a love for female entrepreneurship, because I know that women are left and right brain. So when I left aviation in 2021 and went into my business full time, I literally took everything that I have learned, gleaned, understood in a global space, and I brought it into this space where all these skills will serve women to become the best versions of themselves, because women are extremely powerful. So
Yes.
this is why it is important that we invest in ourselves, because we are the whole deal. We are the whole deal. It makes no sense that we are across the board, the most qualified people on the planet. Any job, any location you go to, the women are the most qualified women. And yet we are leaving ourselves for last. We are still in the broken cookie mindset where we are feeding everybody and we are eating the crumbs. We are convincing ourselves that we are only entitled to the barest minimum. We are underpaid, undervalued, and not realizing that as Tyne Ziki said it, and she was my first guest, and she said it and it resonated with me. She said, when women say things about themselves, what she says is, who told you that?
Mm.
And most of the time she said when she says it to women, they come to a full stop. And this is what I want, just like what Celia is saying. I want you to stop. Give yourself some grace. Take a deep breath through your nose. Hold it. Breathe out through your mouth. Do that. Center yourself, because you have value. You have value. You are always valuable. And it has nothing to do with who assigns value to you. Anybody assign value to you, that's extra. That's extra. So this is why borderless communities are important, because women are saying, we sing it from the same hymn book. The only thing different is the geographical location.
Yeah.
And that is why wellness is important. So I want to tell you, okay, so Shamin is saying something, and she's promising you that you will do something together. So you can
Fantastic.
put Shamin to that. Rhonda is saying, this community you're building is so important, and I'm so glad Rhonda created this space. You know, the thing that I most wanted when I was growing up is a sister. Growing up in a house at
I
home,
wanted a younger sister. I'm the
I wanted
youngest.
a sister. I didn't care. There are stories that I could tell you of the lengths to which I went with my little brothers. I can't say it in the open, not embarrass them. I wanted a sister so badly, it wasn't funny. I wanted a sister so badly. And the thing about it is that I am so focused on women having these conversations because when I was coming up in the world and life was lifing and everything was going to shit, I wish I had somebody to hold my hand and tell me, Rhonda, you see this thing that you're stressing out over? Take a breath. It will get better. It will get better. Don't give up on yourself. Keep going. Put it in God's hands. Center yourself. I went back to school at 40. I had the bold faceness to believe that where I started was not where I was going to end up. But
Correct.
in that journey, sometimes the only person that believes where you're going is you. So I wanted to create a space where women could just catch our breath. Just
Yes.
catch our breath. Just like me, let us move past competition. Let us move past when a woman walks into a room that you're looking at the woman from head to foot and you're judging Celia's shoe and her dress and her look, and you are deciding that you are going to dislike Celia without even knowing one damn thing about Celia. And then afterwards, you're going to say to Celia, but I never know you were so friendly. Because you have formed an opinion about Celia that has no basis in reality. And those are the conditioning things that I really wish in this season, and especially now, that women could get over that. So, ladies, I am asking you another question again. And Joe is saying, now you're building. Yes, exactly. They say if you want something, you have to build it yourself sometimes. So here is something I want to share with you. And if you will bear with me for 1 second, Celia, because we're coming down to the end of it, I want to show you what StreamYard said I couldn't show the entire book. So I am going to show you what the workbook is going to look like this week. Now, these workbooks are for you to use, not for you to just take and pack up in a corner. This is a wellness journey book, and I'm going to just show you a few of the pages. And it is going to start, it's downloadable and it's fillable. You could use it however you choose. These are the topics that we're going to be covering inside of the workbook, that your body is your business and there's a guided reflection. Remember, Celia talked about setting your mind and keeping it set, affirmations for the day. There's a wellness wheel audit. A lot of people don't know about the wellness wheel. They may know about other types of wheels. It means that when you fill out this workbook, you don't have to show this workbook to anybody. This is your starting point. And if you finish this the way that it ought to be done, you are going to take the action that we want you to take tonight. There's a 3-week reset strategy because we know and research has shown that it takes at least 3 weeks for something to start to become a habit. Remember, we're not always motivated, so we have to be disciplined. And I am not leaving you without resources and a reading list. Now, inside of this book, there are a lot of affirmations. So here's a prompt because I'm not much of a fan of journals, but I try to put elements of journaling into a workbook so at least you could actually take a prompt and put it in your journal if journaling is your thing. If you feel that 3 lines is not enough, that might be the reason for you to start a journal. So here's a prompt. When was the last time I truly felt at home in my body? And you get to write. Prompt 2. What does rest look like for me in this season, and what's getting in the way of it? Remember, Celia, you said that there was a woman who you spoke to who says that she never has time for herself. So those are some of the guided reflections. Your body. So there's an affirmation box. Your wellness book. goals. There's a 7-day strategy inside here. There's a 3-week strategy inside here, which is mind and body. Part of it is your mind, part of it is your body, and a big part of it is boundaries. So we really want you to get this workbook tonight. And the magic word tonight is reset. So you put reset into the comments. And I am not leaving a link inside here because this is homework. This is after you finish listening to Celia and I hype up the place. This is for you to do the work. And drop your email to me in the DM, in the messenger, and I will send you your own exclusive copy of this workbook. You will use it. And if there are any questions that you have, whether it is for me or for Celia, feel free to reach out to us. See us as a resource. I have partnered. Do you know that this limited season was supposed to be for 1 month? Do you know that it is going to finish at the end of May? Because the more women I added on, is the more women that I added on. So we have gone from what was supposed to be like 4 or 5 episodes to an entire next month. And there were women that I had to turn away because I simply didn't have this space. I would have been doing this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if I am talking the talk, I have to walk the walk. So, ladies, as I said, and I'm seeing people putting in the word reset, drop your email to me and I will give it to you. And here's the thing, inside of the resources, you will see the link for Celia's website, which is www.bajanfusion.com. I like your website, by the way. I went and peeped. You know me.
Thank you. It has to be updated, but yes, thank you. It's a start.
You work with what you have until.
There you go.
So let's go to the last question, and I have a lastest question as well. Mm-hmm. So what this question, when I wrote this question, I wanted to make this question the first question because based on what we have spoken about tonight, this is a real thing. What would you say to a woman who is killing it at work, but neglecting her body and boundaries in the process? How many women do we know like that? Can you point out a time in your life when you was that woman? I was that woman at 30. I was that woman at 30.
When I was building Bajan Fusion, I was definitely that woman.
40 was my coming out party. I told people if I knew 40 was going to be this good, I'd have been 40 before. I was that woman.
It was a point where people were like, all you could talk about is Bajan Fusion, Celia. Like I could hear them saying it to me. You don't sleep. You always working. You always trying to build this business. What is wrong with you? I had to do that to get where I'm at, right? But what I would say to a woman is, I see you. I can see. I know your passion. I know your drive because I was there too. But you cannot thrive on empty. That's the reality. You cannot thrive on empty. And in Barbados, we say all to both. You can do both. You can build your business, but you can also still take care of your body in spirit, mind. Yes, spirit and mind, right? So at the end of the day, we know that you have those results that you're actively achieving. We know that there are things that you need to get done, right? But you can do both because reality is if you are not well, that business cannot function at the level that you would want to function at. And then when it comes to your boundaries, if it's not aligned, let it go. Know when to say yes and know when to say no. And what I have learned is boundaries are not walls, they're bridges. And I came up with another acronym again, right? Where you put a cap on it, right? You put a cap on it because this is your bridge to clarity, alignment, right? And peace. So when you start to create your boundaries, some of it can be silent. There are times where you don't have to tell people why you make the decisions that you make, right? And then there are times you may have to communicate this information to people, especially those people who are important to you, and they may not understand right away why you are doing what you are doing. So you may have to have the conversation. But once people know your cap, they're either going to roll with you or they're going to walk away. And you have to be comfortable with either decision.
Let me ask you something really quickly before we come to the last question. And I like to say no is a whole response.
It's a sentence,
Without,
period.
without any explanation. What happens, because Anita is going to be talking about the sandwich generation and the pain that women feel when they have been drafted into responsibilities that is really too much for them. And then people, I had a friend named Pearl who used to say, when somebody tell her, but you're strong, you could do that. She used to say, girl, I used to feel like if I could take a big stone and pelt and hit that person in the head. Here is the question or your take on it. What happens when the boundaries that you have to set involve family members, loved ones, relationships that are really, really close to you, and that there's a level of anguish in setting those boundaries? How do you surmount that?
So when I was earlier in business, I used to think about and worry about what my family think and how they feel about my journey. And when I realized that I was pretty much on my own building this brand, I had to make decisions for myself. And I'm a child of God. I believe in God. I believe in myself. I would always say God is love and I am loved. To be loved is the most powerful, favorable, and overwhelming feeling in the world. And when you have yourself, and then there are people who see you for who you are. I would always say to people, focus on who focuses on you, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, it's a colleague. If a family member never focuses on me, it is okay. I've gotten to that point in my life that I cannot force people to be where I am at. Right? You want to bring everybody along, but you cannot. Right? Whoever is willing to go with you, you're building them and they are building you. So I'm at that stage in my life where it may seem difficult or it may, oh, Celia is so tough that she doesn't worry about what people think, but this journey is a hard one. And when you have the right people in your circle, that's who you focus on. And you have to really release the energy of people not liking the decisions that you are making for yourself. I'm very good now at nipping things in the bud. If you're going to say something that doesn't add to, I'm going to cut you off right there. I'm not going to entertain the negativity. I'm not going to entertain, because guess what? That's one of my non-negotiables. My mindset and my wellness are a priority. And if you're going to bring negativity into my life, I'm going to cut it right there. I'm going to walk away or I won't say anything, right? So even though it is tough to do, you have to get settled in your spirit. This journey is yours, right? And nobody can tell you how to live it. And I've made up in my mind, there's one person that I'm going to answer to, and it's God. When he's ready for me, thy will be done. I've done everything that I needed to do on this earth. I've impacted lives. I've made a difference. I've added value. And that's good enough for me. And if you're a family member, if you're a friend, if you're a colleague, you see me, I see you. Let's make it happen.
I hear you, because Rhonda is saying something here and I want to show it. She said, I struggled with setting boundaries. I learned to for the sake of self-preservation. And that is so true. My aunt, who I led with tonight, I loved my aunt. I adored my aunt. And to this day, I remember sometimes I'm in New York and I would go down to Lincoln Road where she had her brownstone and we would lie in bed for hours. And here's the amazing thing, Celia. I hadn't seen my aunt for 20 years until we reconnected. I was working in Piaco, and I was still on the floor working as an officer, supervising people. And I was by the revolving doors, and I saw this woman coming to me. And something told me, this woman have to be my family. This woman looking like me. But remember, I hadn't seen her in 20 years. And when she handed her passport to the officer to check, I saw my name, and my name is very unusual. Very few people have the name Glenn. And I looked at the passport, and I looked at the woman, and I said, you know who I am? And she looked at me, and this was her, Rhonda. And I had not seen my aunt in 20 years. But here is the thing that I will remember about my aunt to my dying day. And I always tell people I'm 6 degrees separated from my ancestors. There are times when I could literally hear my ancestors speaking in my ear. And something that my aunt said, they were lying down in Brooklyn, and she said, Rhonda, I am not hard. People say that I am hard. I am not hard. I had to get hard in order for me to survive. So I guess what she was saying to me is that when you set boundaries, you're going to disappoint people. And they're going to say that you have changed.
Yes.
But this is my journey. And it's either we on the same road, or you have to give me the grace to find my length. And in so doing, sometimes it's very painful. It's painful for you as well. It is painful for you as well. So I think this is what you're saying, that and this is what I want women to take away, that it is all right for you to choose yourself, but it's all right for you to put yourself first. It's all right for you to choose yourself over and over again. It's all right for you to choose yourself, even though this is the biggest risk you are taking to be an entrepreneur. It is all right for you to reset your mind, even in fear and stress and uncertainty and overwhelm. It is all right. So think of wellness, and you could correct me if you want to. Think of wellness and intentionally choosing wellness as an added piece of ammunition, an added tool in your toolkit that will allow you to take up space in this world, because you're not entering into the room crawling and wondering if people will like you. You are going to choose yourself over and over. And when you keep choosing yourself, choosing how you, because if you love yourself, you will feed yourself, you will move your body, you will take that breath, you will eliminate people in your life who are not for your greatest good. You will fall in love with yourself. You will go in the direction of spirituality. I am very spiritual. I think that God keeps showing us things over and over because we harden and we hard-headed, and He will show us iterations of things and people over and over until He knocks some sense into our heads. And then we get quiet, and then we get centered, and then He does start to reveal His plan for us. So that's just my take. So this is your last question, Celia. And ladies, everybody who put reset in the comments will be given the workbook tonight. So this is a nice one. This one's a little funny, so we could part on a nice. So we talk about some very heavy issues tonight. So this is a quick wellness check for anybody, including Celia, including me. What's one non-negotiable in your self-care routine? One song that gets you moving. I call it your Superman or your Superwoman song, that gets you moving every time. And one thing that you can say no to without any guilt.
All right. So my non-negotiable is my thyroid medication. I need it. If I am not using it, my body starts to break down. I start being very forgetful. My heart rate races. A lot happens when I'm not using that medication. So that's a daily non-negotiable. The song that makes me feel like a superwoman is I Am Light by India Ari.
Ari?
Yes, if you've not heard about it, I say go on YouTube, listen to it. The words are very powerful, and it will also get you to tap in a little bit more with yourself and being able to set those boundaries. What I say no to are things and people that are not aligned with my mission, my vision, and my values.
I hear you. All right. For me, my non-negotiable is my time. I have, maybe it's because I am going to be 62 in August. My mother hates when I talk about my age, but I am so proud of having reached this age and the knowledge that has come with it. The mistakes that I've made in the past, it was mistakes of simply I didn't know better. I didn't know better, and I had to forgive myself about a lot of things. So I'm in full forgiveness mode. The music, these days I am listening to Benito. Bad Bunny's new album is absolutely awesome because a lot of my Trinbago experience, Trinidad is a mixture of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the music that he is using is, especially in his last album, is about is traditional um, Puerto Rican music, which Trinidad, what they call paranda, is what we call parang. I live about 20 minutes, 30 minutes away from Lupino. So I, I am very diverse in terms of what I listen to. Depends on my day. I will listen to Fela Kuti or I will listen to Brahms. Depends on how I feel. But I like music and I love to read. So my non-negotiables are what I feed my mind with. I see my mind as much needing being fed as my tummy. I've become very intentional,
Yes.
extremely intentional. So it comes across to many people that maybe in some ways have become cold and is not cold. Is that I was doing all the things, but I wasn't pouring into myself. And now I am well aware of that. My wellness has become very important. My spirituality has become very, very, very important. To the extent where I tell people I do not schedule content or very little. My spirituality is so strong that I never know what I'm going to write until I write it.
Yeah.
I never know what I'm going to write until I write it. It could be a piece of music. It could be a quote. It could be something that I listen to. I read a lot. I don't look at TV at all. So, and it is important to me, Celia, because as I tell people, I knew who I wanted to be when I was 8 years old. And Celia, it took me 50 years to become that person. 50
Mm-hmm.
years to become that person. And that's why the gift that I give to women creating these things is for them to get there faster.
Yes.
Joman said her non-negotiable, and Joman is sharing sleep. She said her song is Savage Remix with Megan Thee Stallion featuring Beyonce. Beyonce is a superstar. Megan is absolute, absolute.
Yep.
So before we close off, and I thank you, Celia. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. As I said, this series is about women talking the real talk. We're not about tapping ourselves on the back. We are saying that we are all women and we all struggle with these things. How can we help? How can we be a source? So
Yes.
before
And
we
I want
close
to
up,
thank you. I want to thank you as well, Rhonda, for the opportunity to connect with you, connect with your community. You are a badass in entrepreneurship. I love your energy. A lady that I met a year ago, she's in her 70s, and she would call herself a whippersnapper, a firecracker, and you bring that same energy. And it's women like you that give women like us, women like myself, even more confidence to keep doing what we're doing. And we're not just doing it, but we're doing it well. And we're convicted in what we do so that we can make sure that we're consistently adding value to others. So I want to thank you for the work that you're doing. I want to thank you for the opportunity to connect with your community as well.
Thank you so much. So before you close off, tell them a little bit of, if they want to hear more about Celia Collymore and Bajan Fusion. I tell you, you have to build a platform for the entire Caribbean.
I know, right?
I know. I'm seeing the need for it. I'm seeing the need for it because we as entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, whether it is in the Caribbean or beyond, we keep putting ourselves last on the plate.
Yes, definitely. I would say the person's just follow me on LinkedIn so we can become friends on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram, Connect with Celia. You can follow my brand at Bajan Fusion on Instagram as well as LinkedIn. Rhonda, feel free, one person, share their contact with me, and I'll be more than willing to offer a one-on-one lifestyle coaching session.
This is good.
As well.
This is a gift. This is a gift. This is a gift. So for those of you who know me, those of you who will look at the replay, I am Rhonda Maria Glynn. I'm a business strategist. I'm not a business coach. I'm not a lifestyle coach. I'm not any of those things. I will move you from ideation to prototype to product. I will move you from small business to scale without fear, without overwhelm. I am a strong believer in data, process, and systems. You can reach me on LinkedIn, where I am like a fowl setting, making a little nest. I have a YouTube channel. You can also reach me via www.rondaglynn.com. You can drop me an email at info@rondaglynn.com. Everything is rondaglynn.com. My information is SEO optimized. You just drop the name into Google, my business comes up to the top. I am saying that I am here to serve. I am here to serve the female community. Let's become the CEOs that our mothers wanted us to marry. Let us build generational wealth so that at the end of the day, we will go back home empty. Eunice is saying something here, and she's saying, I'm happy in my thought processes. I love who I am, and I will not compromise. Eunice is a boss. I spoke to Shaj just this week, and you see the length of my hair now, Eunice. I had to tell you that it's time for it to take a little shape. But Eunice is very happy with his scissors. So let's try and stay away from her. She's very happy with his scissors. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. Drop your stuff for me, Celia. You're getting some shine here. Celia, thank you for all you've shared. I absolutely enjoyed tonight's session. So timely. Thanks, ladies.
You're welcome, Rhonda. My pleasure.
Next week, we will be with Anita, and Anita will be talking about the sandwich generation and the challenges that women are experiencing in this season, where women are, just like what Celia said, where we're leaving ourselves for last. And how is that working out for us? So, ladies and gentlemen, again, drop your email in the DM, and I will be sending the workbook to you. Have a great evening. Celia, we will talk soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Take care.